and welcome to the new episode of the Bianca Williams Podcast. I'm your host, Bianca Williams, and today you guys are in for a treat because I have a beautiful guest who is very, very talented, and I want to tell y'all a little bit about her. Her name is Shawn Denise, and just so you guys can understand some of her background and just her incredible body of work, Shawn Denise is a Georgia-born and Decatur-made fashionista, and she is the proud class of 2007 alumni of the Tennessee State University with a Bachelor's of Science degree in Agricultural Sciences with a minor in Business Administration. The divorced mother of three is currently earning a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in Fashion Design, Fashion Merchandising. Ooh, with a minor in fashion apparel from Clark Atlanta University after transferring from the Art Institute of Atlanta. This school unfortunately closed in September of 2023. Shawn Denise is passionate about creating contemporary and luxury ready-to-wear inspirations for sizes 8 through 34, as well as becoming one of the first designers for plus-size haute couture. Before attending AIA, Shawn Denise was a self-taught and true lover of fashion. Her designs embody creations of retro, bohemian, minimalist, and athleisure chic aesthetics. With her brand, Paint by Shawn Denise gives passion and love to every stitch of garment she creates and continuously releases a ready-to-wear collection each season. Her collections are colorful, they're sexy, they're bold. Her goal is to make the hashtag painted person feel beautiful and unique in sexy, chic silhouettes to the curves of their bodies. Welcome, 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 Shawn Denise. Thank you so much for joining me. Like I said,
Thank
your
you so
work, oh my gosh, like even going through your bio is just like, I can't believe I'm sitting here talking to you. It's incredible. And you have had your own transitions. You have an impressive work history. You've had your own transitions, and I want to kind of get into that. Just kicking off, just what inspired you in some of your career transitions, and then also what were some of the challenges that came up for you along the way?
Ooh. Well, I spent actually I'm still work my 9 to 5. And so I'm still going through my career transition working in the agriculture sector. And I've been in the agriculture sector this year 19 years. So but transitioning from something like agriculture to fashion, um I learned that they were closely related. They're actually interdependent on each other because you need farming in order to have fabric or textiles. So for me, it was learning, I always ask the why. Like, why did I, have to learn all this agriculture stuff? Why did I go through all this agriculture? But learning how cotton is grown, how wool is pretty much raised through sheep, so how all of those things are interdependent on the textile end, and then what us designers do with that fabric. It was just so important for me to learn that. I didn't know my why then, but I know it now. So going through that transition on being pretty much a full-time designer, it has its days, it has its moments, but just learning and discovering who I am as a designer, that took a lot of effort. I've been designing for 11 years now, and I had to learn what it is I wanted my customers to look like, what type of feeling I wanted them to have from my garments, and just what type of impact I wanted to have, not only on the plus size industry, but the fashion industry in general. So just making that transition, it was tough because I always tell people, don't quit your 9 to 5 before you can, make the same amount of money or more with what you really want to do. So that's pretty much where I am, taking that leap of faith and saying, oh no, I'm doing this full time. But the transition has been I'll be honest, it's been difficult. It has its days, and you know, I have struggled. I've had great years. I've had, years not so much, but I love what I do. And every year, if I can get to wake up and do what I love, then I know I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So I didn't know how you was gonna speak on that, but I feel like I learned something. So agriculture, they kind of get into just the natural fabrics of the world, and then
Right.
you go into this space where like literally fabrics is your world, and you instantly kind of get to make this connection, and it's like this ideal of how does this fit in my life that's shifting ends up becoming super transparent and actually probably giving you an advantage in a lot of ways.
Yes.
And then when I hear about your career transition, first of all, 20 years, congratulations. 19 going on 20 years, congratulations. I don't know many people that have been in their jobs that long, and that's really, really admirable. So thank you for sharing that, and thank you for just being that committed and showing us what work ethic looks like as a mom of three, as a person out here running a business and making her dreams come true. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Um, Absolutely. So when I hear you talk about career transitions, I'm kind of hearing that you're saying your career transition is almost like expanding. So I have my job, which I'm stable with. It's been feeding and bills, whatever, right? But then I got these dreams, I got these goals, I got these aspirations, and I'm gonna just open up some room on my plate and dig into that. I'm gonna make sure I got enough of me in my life and my work too. And so career transition for you has been adding to the work. That's
Yeah,
hard. That's
I think
hard for
that
a lot of people.
if I could go back, I probably would do things differently. But when you don't have a mentor, when you don't really, let's be honest, you don't know what you're doing, you definitely make a lot of mistakes along the way. So I made a lot of mistakes along the way. Even though I keep those mistakes to myself and I probably should share them more. But I did make a lot of mistakes, and if I could go back, I would have slowed down a little bit on what I was releasing and not probably release such big collections um that I was doing, like 3 pieces instead of 12. Things like that matter a lot because I'm buying or mass producing for 3 garments instead of 12 garments or 24 items. And that can be a lot when you're doing everything yourself. Um, mass producing is a whole another arena, and it's very difficult as a designer to do everything yourself. I think most people think of designer, you're designing, you're sketching. That's the design part of it. But I also sew everything on my end. So I'm a
Oh,
technical
wow.
designer. I'm a seamstress. Have to wear so many hats to get so much done. And I have learned to finally delegate things and give things to other people. And I think that was something I really had to learn, was to be trusting enough to say, hey, I really need you to do this for me, or I need to delegate this or pay someone to do this task. So yeah, if I could go back, I probably would I mean I didn't know. So but I
Mhm.
learned. But I would tell everybody else, get some type of system in place so you can transition sooner. I'm fortunate that I have a career and job that my boss knows that I'm a fashion designer. I'm able to I'm able to tell him certain things that most people cannot tell their supervisors. He is very, very supportive, not only of my career, but me going back to school. And so it's just a lot that I'm able to do, and which is the reason why I haven't left. It's just a lot I'm able to do with my 9 to 5 that the average person I know for a fact would not be able to do. So I'm very blessed in that aspect.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think you're speaking to so many people's pain points when it comes to like, how do I, go into this place of the unknown in a sense, and just my lessons learned along the way. And one of the things I'm hearing from you is just it is a lot of uncertainty. It is a lot of I don't know what to expect, but one of the things I'll commend you on is you took the risk, because a lot of people will stop over and over again because they're like, well, what about this and what about that? And everything is not perfect. And as I'm seeing in the entrepreneurial world, there's a lot of people you could pay to mentor you, but it ain't cheap. So sometimes like going out there and taking those risks and making those mistakes is a little bit worth it. But the goal is to, get to a point where you don't burn out and you don't
Right,
give up on yourself. So
right.
what would you say for you, just kind of coming out of that space, like how did you navigate those fears, that uncertainty? Because I'm hearing you like, I kind of went in really fast and hard, and it was against the point where it was like, okay, how is this gonna work? Because this is a
Yeah.
lot.
Um, it's been so much trial and error. Um, but I always say everything, you have an idea, you have a concept, and then you present that concept to your fan base. They either gonna like it, love it, or hate it. And if they like it, they'll gauge a little bit. If they love it, they're gonna buy and spend money. And if they don't like it, you won't get the feedback that you want. You won't get the money that you would like to earn. So that's my trial and error. I had to learn, I had to build even study groups. I created a study group of people that just like my brain, and I would just release of, hey, what do you guys think about this? What do you think about that? And get feedback from them before I release the collection, or I'll post stuff on social media just to get feedback before I do anything. Because if it's a trend, I want to know, is it something people are going to purchase? Is it something people are going to like? So all those types of things help me make good decisions, because once the money is spent, can't get it back. So you want to make sure that you're almost spending the least amount of money, but you want quality things, not only to sell, but in developing your content. Um, all of that matters so much. It matters so much. So just the trial and error. And I'm still learning, because social media is forever changing, and people
Yes.
pace is forever changing. So you want to stay current. You want to make sure you're giving people consistent quality items. It's just something you just learn with experience. You can't, I think a lot of people walk in the door thinking they're going to have overnight success, because that's what social media tells us. We're going to have overnight success. Everything is going to pop off immediately. No, it's not. No, it's not. And you don't
That is
want it.
not true.
Yeah, you really don't want it to, because you want to make those errors in the beginning. You want to build that fan base that's going to love you no matter what. That's the most important thing, is having a fan base that loves you no matter what. That is
Yeah.
so crucial. So developing that fan base, and then now you know who to sell to. You don't have to worry about certain things, because you know exactly who to sell to. You know exactly what they're looking for. So that's things that you just learn through experience. Give yourself time to grow and develop. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that, speaking to just like it's a process, and trust the process. It's gonna be hard at times, but it has rewards along the way. And so definitely gonna get into that a little bit more. But I'm also hearing you speak about just some of how you navigate it, like you do field research, you are getting feedback from real people, what you like, how are you responding to just some broad ideas. This is something people would be interested in. That is so incredibly smart. I'm also hearing you talk about different forms of support you have from your boss to some of the people you're able to run your ideas by. Um, how would you add to, just for you, what resources and support and what that looks like, and then how important that is when you're in any transition in your life, but specifically when you're like navigating your career?
Right. You definitely need your own village. Villages aren't just for children. So my parents are the top of my village, because they're the ones that watch my kids and do all of that for me when I'm having to go to photo shoots or school or work. I mean, they do it all. My parents have, and I'm probably can say my parents have helped me raise my kids. Because I do work to 5 o'clock, and I do work um my business. Like I work a lot. So my parents have definitely helped me tremendously. Um Finding a career that is going to allow you the space and time to do what you love, because bills are due every day. So you have to make sure you have some sort of income that's coming in. I'm very fortunate enough that I work not just for the agency I work for, but my supervisor that just allows me to pursue my dreams and he's been my supervisor the last 8 years, almost 9 years. So I know if I had any other supervisor with my agency, what I do is not possible. Then having your friends that support you. I think most people think support is monetary, but just being there, being a ear, sharing posts online, all of that support matters so much. So I've definitely have had to, switch up my inner circle a few times. And my core friends now, I mean, they're so supportive. Hey, what do you need? Or were you doing this? When can I support that? Very, very, very supportive. And that's, to me, that's the core of the support, is making sure those people are in place. And then I think everything else will fall in line. But those are the main factors for me.
Yeah. And one thing I'm hearing is endurance and the ability to continue to bounce back. Because, like we just said, it's not always going to look the same. And it's so many things I could say on that. But for sure, you said something that stood out, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, that is so so important. I know it's gonna come back to me like literally 10 seconds after you start talking again. But oh, you made
Yeah,
some amazing points, and I'm so happy you have like such a strong support system, especially with your kids. Because like entrepreneurship is hard, working a career, having a career job is hard, being in a place where I feel like everybody gets to this place where they have okay, what is for the next 10 years? What is for the next 5 years? What do I want to really prioritize and focus on?
right,
And it might shift things completely for people. And so just being able to know that I had the space to do that because I have the right career in place, I have the right
right.
people in place. That is amazing. So, you did start your business. You said 11 years ago. Wow. I didn't realize it's been that long. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
What motivated you? What motivated you and what steps did you take that made it like a reality for you?
Oh God, I remember this day like it was yesterday. I was living in Albany, Georgia at the time. Um, I was sitting on my couch and I was like, man, I cannot wait to retire from the government and open a boutique. And it would be so dope if my clothes were in the boutique. And then I thought, and I looked and I thought, and I was like, why in the world would I wait 30 years to do what I wanted to do? And the next day I was just like, nope, I'm going to be a fashion designer. And I didn't know how to sew. I didn't know anything about fabric, or I never,
You didn't know how to sew?
I didn't
I was like, she was born sewing. That's what she knew.
I didn't know anything. And I remember I went to Joanne. They had a going out of business sale at Joann's in Albany. They were switching locations like down the street. So everything in the store was 50, 60, and 75% off. I went and got a sewing machine, just bought some random fabrics, threads. I had no clue what I was even buying at the time. But I just bought something like, okay, this is for so I'm just going to buy it because, it's 75, 80% off or whatever. And that night I made this denim maxi skirt. And I was like, I don't know how to make a skirt. I'm just gonna pinch the fabric together. Little did I know I was pleating fabric. And I made the skirt and I looked at my clothes and said, we got a waistband. I'm just gonna put this on here. And to this day that skirt looks amazing. I had no
Wow.
clue what I was doing. But I said I'm just gonna pleat skirts, and that was the first thing I made was pleated skirts. And then I sold some April 2013. One customer went off on me so bad because the skirt looked so bad. And I told my husband at the time, I said, I'm going to stop doing business. And I said, let me learn how to sew. And ever since then, I dived into learning how to sew, teaching myself how to make patterns, teaching myself how to sew buttons. Not sew on buttons, sew on zippers. Teaching myself everything, which is one of the reasons why I went back to school, because I wasn't confident. Like, even though I was putting out stuff and I'm like, I'm really unsure if I'm doing this correctly. And school took my confidence way, way up a notch, because long and behold, I actually did teach myself how to sew. There were a couple of things that, I needed to go back and do and tweak. But for the most part, the first 8 years that I was doing this, I taught myself how to sew.
Yes,
And
that's
pattern making,
amazing.
which is not an easy thing to do, but I just figured it out and kept going.
Wow. Yeah, like you don't know how inspiring that is to hear for so many people that's just like, oh, I gotta have all of these things in order. I gotta have all of these skills. No, you just gotta have the vision and the dream.
Right.
You don't have the desire. Like you can
Yeah.
learn it, you can
Learn.
do it. Like I feel like the way like God works is the doors open when you're clear that I'm walking through them. Like if you're
Yep.
saying I'm gonna walk through this door, He's gonna open the doors for you.
Yep.
But if you just like, oh no, maybe one day, like it's just gonna be a long hallway of doors you're just gonna keep walking past. And
Right.
so Erica, she was like, I want to do this, and I made mistakes along the way, and I learned from those mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. And I never forget this. I remember one time, and I don't remember your exact words, but you were kind of like, you were kind of criticizing the fashion world because you were like, they make so many stylish clothes for certain sizes, but then when you get to like, plus size or just larger size women, and they kind of get real, like, I don't know, formal, real, what is the word? They get conservative. It's almost like,
Yeah.
what's the change of style, when it comes to plus size fashion? And just limitations.
Now, after going to school, as the reason why, ready to wear is such a tricky field to be in, because you're trying to design garments for so many body types. And when you start getting 12, 14, 16 up, those body types change a whole lot than
Mm,
2, 4, which is,
yeah,
you have way more curves that you have
yeah.
to think about. Apple shape, pear shape, hourglass figure. You don't really have that in the smaller sizes. So I think there's a fear
Mm,
when it comes to doing plus size ready to wear, because you just don't know. Um but at the same time, I think there is not enough trial and error when it comes to designing, meaning when we're in class, I'm designing for a size 8. Why am I designing for a size 8? I know what a size 8 body type looks like. I need to be designing for a size 28, because if it
mm,
look good on a 28, I know it's going to look good on everybody else. So I think that it's how it's being taught. If it's not being taught from a plus size perspective, then they're not going to design for plus size. People stay in that safe haven of size 00 through size 14 because it's safe.
mm.
Everything after that, you don't know what type of body you're designing for. So that's where and then the consumers, they're not even used to buying things that, not of that price range and not of that type of garment. So everybody has to get used to it, and I'm just trying to push the envelope a little bit every year so people can
Yeah.
understand that, you can't have stuff that fits your body and it will look good.
Yes. I didn't even consider that. Like you just, I don't know, blew my mind. Come on, all these different body types you gotta now navigate. Once you get to size 20 is not one size fits all for every 20, size 20. Some people are top heavy, some people are bottom heavy, some people are tall, some people are short, some people are wider, like, just in different places.
But
People's bodies are built very different. It is really unique how weight moves around just depending on your body type. So that I didn't even think about that. I feel like I'm learning. It's like a class, a master class to me. What were some of your like biggest hurdles you had to overcome? And then along the way, just being in this entrepreneur space, what were some of the biggest rewards you were able to experience and receive?
I think I'm still getting over this hurdle is trusting that people are going to like me. Um, I I know how I can come across sometimes because I'm very straight faced all the time. And then one of the things I learned this in college about myself was that I'll never forget someone saying, "I thought you were so mean and such." And then I got to know you. You're so nice. Like you're the complete opposite. And I said, "Oh, okay." So people think one thing about you, and then when they get to know you, they see the real you and then they realize, oh, I had you all figured out all wrong. So that was something that I had to learn about myself. And although I know that I'm not going to change me, is how do I introduce me to the world so
Mm-hmm.
that I'm likable to the world without changing me? So that is one of the biggest hurdles that I'm still trying to figure out because I'm such a private person and I'm such a discreet person. It's like, okay, you're at a stage where you can't be like that anymore. So it's
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out how do I present me to the world that's still authentic. So that's one of my biggest hurdles that I'm even still trying to figure out to this day. But one of my biggest rewards was becoming a Shein designer. That was just yes, that happened.
Congratulations.
Um It was 2022,
Really?
almost 2 years ago. I had the worst photo shoot I've ever done in my life. I mean, it was
Really?
like a complete disaster. I underestimated how much work it was going to take to do that photo shoot. I cried. I was exhausted. And the next day after the shoot, I get this email from Shein. I thought it was spam. I wasn't going to
You was like,
respond. I was like, because I get messages all the time
oh my
from,
gosh, somebody
uh,
needs to like do something about these business scammers because I'm like, take
and,
my contact page off the list.
and it's like all the time from influence, like, can you be an influencer? Can you do this? And I ignore them. But this one, I was like, I checked the email. I'm like, wait a minute, this is Shein's real email. And I checked the items and this looks legit. And so I got in the program at a time that it was different because I didn't have to apply. Everybody else has to apply and be accepted. And I didn't go that route. She found
Oh,
Instagram based off what I had on my Instagram page. And she said, no, we're interested and we want to do a collection. And I'm like, after the worst moment of my life, like, what? And it was such a great experience. Um, I'm so grateful for school because I just learned how to do a tech pack, how to do digital
mm,
illustration to make my own textile. I literally had just started school. So I had enough time to learn all that stuff in the semester, submit my designs. And that's literally how it happened. It by the grace of God, everything aligned up perfectly for me to
wow.
um and I submitted. It was it was a great collection. It sold out maybe 3 months. There were about 16 items, which is crazy to have that many items on the website. I think I had one of the biggest, if not the biggest collection on their website. Um, but it was amazing. That was my biggest reward. The second collab was another one because it sold out and then they restocked double what they stocked the first time and then it sold out again. So Shein has been such a blessing. Um, I'm still seeing my stuff with people. It's just see people that you have no clue even exist in the world wearing your stuff is just an incredible feeling. Like
Yeah,
people really loved my designs, and it was mind blowing to me. That really it still is.
that is amazing. Congratulations again on that. It was like a breakthrough. I never knew that, it was going on at the time. It was like, oh my goodness, it was kind of a low point. and then this like ray of sunshine just beacons through. And wow, if
Yes.
you could offer any advice to an aspiring entrepreneur that wants to, just go into their own thing, what would you say?
Research, re- research, not just research, um, your field that you want to go to. Research what you want your brand to look like. The entire,
Mhm.
from the packaging to the labels to everything. Like, research everything, because everybody can make candles, but if your candle, it does not have some type of message, if it's not going to change my life and aspect of it, what am I buying it for? So what type of function are you going to have that's going to be changing? What type of problem are you solving within that market? That's the type of research that you need to be doing. It has to be clear. It has to be with some type of purpose. Uh,
Mhm.
Tell people to research. They don't tell them what you research for, and you can't just research how much money your industry makes. That's not going to help. Obviously, it makes, you know, but you need to research what problems that industry is having right now. What is missing from that industry that you can solve that problem? That's the type of research that you should be doing.
Yeah, that's definitely a big conversation all the time when you get on that side of business and you're like, what are you going to sell? Because it's a bigger kind of picture behind that. Like, yeah, you might like this, but selling isn't about being good at something or liking it. It's like you got to really know how to market it and make it a message and change people's lives. So that's huge. And I feel like you're full of personality, you're full of style, you just kind of got all of these great things. How do you infuse that personality, that creativity into fashion?
Um, I definitely do. I always think about what I want to wear in different moods that I have. Like, I'm in one mood when I'm running errands, one mood when I'm out being I'm in one mood when I'm out with my friends. So, those three different styles, sportswear, bohemian, and retro chic, that's pretty much the styles that I like to design. So I like to
Mm,
make statement pieces. I want to do a little bit of statement, and then I want to be a little bit relaxed. All of that is just me to the core. So I make sure that every collection that, is three of each, at least nine. Even if I don't mass produce nine, I always sketch 9 to 12 garments, and then I'll decide. But designing, I love designing so much because I get to be so creative,
mm.
and always know that what I'm doing does not exist in the plus size world. And I'm just so happy when I create, and I love it so much. But just to display that side of me, and people see that personality of me, and know that they love it, or they're gonna be in awe. That just makes me so happy that people love my work in that way.
Yeah, yeah, that's incredible. It's interesting. I'm like, in health and helping people in that way, but like you're in fashion and you're about empowering people and making people feel beautiful. So kind of hearing like on that helping kind of like that core of like I want people to feel good and have this kind of positive just takeaway that's impacting our life from wearing my fashions. It's
Yes,
um it's so similar yet just in a very different way career wise, and I love that. I love that because yeah, when you wake up in the morning, you get dressed. That's a part of like how you start to set your mood and your emotional space for that day. Otherwise, what are we getting dressed for, right? So that's
I
important.
my clients come back and say, "My gosh, I got so many compliments on this, and I just felt so beautiful." Like, that was the it was, you know, lose weight. Sometimes gain weight. They just want to feel beautiful about themselves. They want to get the compliments. And I'm like, well, I know if you wear my garment, you're gonna get compliments. So go ahead. Go ahead and purchase, get painted, and wear this garment. And I love, love when women come back and tell me how it made them feel. And I'm like, okay, just keep going. Everything else will fall into place. Just keep going. Yep.
Awesome. Love that you get to like feel that impact. I love that you get to the feedback. I think that's sometimes the trickiest part. Like yours get to be public. Mine's kinda, sorta, right? Like you can't always say, but the feedback is like it makes it meaningful. Just like I said, now it's just there's hard days. There are moments where you're like, okay, am I really making
Right.
a difference? Like, can I be something else? And then you'll just have this, yes, you are. Keep going. You're
Right.
making a difference. You're doing the right thing. So that is super incredible. Style is always changing. That's one thing that I can say is consistent about style. Style is always changing. And so do you have any insights on some of the current style trends and just how that might show up in your personal style?
Well, their design and our fashion is kind of like two different things. So when you see Fashion Week, those people are not doing any trends, or what they do during Fashion Week might become a trend the following year. So I have to look at fashion in two different ways. I look at the fashion shows and what those designers do, and then I look at what the fast fashion designers do. The fast fashion is usually 6 to 12 months behind what happens at Fashion Week. So trends can be very tricky because the worst thing that you can do is develop your brand behind the trend. So like, for instance, last year everybody was wearing those red little boots, the little
Mm,
Smurf boots or whatever.
yeah.
Where are they now? So, but you have companies that literally do that. They're like, we're gonna release the hottest thing, we're gonna flood the market, we're gonna make all our money, then we're gonna go to the next trend. There's nothing
Wow.
wrong with that, but as a designer, if that's not what you want to do, the worst thing you can do is they release a whole bunch of red and you say, oh, I'm gonna do another color, I'm gonna do another color. You're gonna be sitting on inventory.
Mhm.
So I have to study trends in the sense of, for instance, my Shein collection. When Beyonce released her album last year,
Renaissance.
the year
Yeah.
before last, she wore a lot of chrome. And I looked at the videos and I know she wore a lot of chrome. I said,
Mhm.
when she released the tickets, I know it's a lot of silver. I said, you know what? I'm going to do metallic collection for Shein. And I remember my coordinator was like, why don't you consider doing this? I said, no, I'm going to do something for people to wear to the Beyonce concert. And I released that collection. It had the silver jumpsuit and it had the gold metallic skirt set and it had the black because I wasn't sure what color Beyonce was gonna do. I said, I'm just gonna do something. And then I did a shirt that said it's concert season.
Mhm.
And so I said I'm gonna release it and see what happens. And lo and behold, here was Beyonce with all that silver and that chrome. That's why my collection sold out. That It's Concert Season t-shirt sold out in 10 days. They released it again.
Wow.
It was the fastest selling t-shirt on Shein website for plus size in 10
Wow.
days. But that's
So
just
it's almost
me.
like pop culture influences too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But that pop culture pushes trends.
That's so true.
Designers create trends that pop culture push. Fast fashion is
Balance.
always last to catch it. It's
Mhm.
it's the so like me, I knew a year ago just because I'm paying attention, I'm watching. Like I knew a year ago, or yeah, a year and a half ago that camo was gonna trend. I knew
Mhm.
camo was gonna trend. I knew last year that Western was gonna trend because every shoe designer released Western boots. If
Okay.
you go online right now, all of them on clearance. So now they're coming because Beyonce doing country
Mhm.
music.
Mhm.
Everybody's getting ready to release Western shoes again. Pharrell just dropped the entire Louis Vuitton Western collection. Beyonce ended up wearing them same pieces to the Grammys. And I thought to myself, oh, we finna get ready to go through a big Western trend this year because it was already everywhere. Beyonce just pushed it in the spotlight.
I hope people
So
take those because I feel like, okay, I just kind of see it happen, but you kind of, I don't know, you're giving like the blueprint behind how this
yeah.
happens. Like it is
So
not a surprise. It's moving in the strategy.
there are people in companies that do nothing but trend forecasting 2 and 3 years ahead of time. So they already know what's going to trend in 2026, what
Um,
colors, what styles, everything. And it's based off what's happening in the world, people's moods. So like we're going through, let's say we go through World War III or something like that. Then
mhm.
they know that people's moods are going to be down. They're going to like colors like black, navy blue, stuff like that. So when you're doing trend, yeah, I can release what's hot and make a few dollars and whatever. But if I want to just be on target, I'm going to study people's mood. I'm going to study people's colors. I know what color is going to trend probably 6 months ahead of time just by looking at what was released in the fall or what was released last spring. If it wasn't a lot of it, I know this upcoming spring is going to be everywhere
Yeah,
because the fast fashion is always 6 to 12 months behind the designers. That's just what it is. So that's one way that I break down and do trends. Sometimes I don't. I stick to certain silhouettes that I know people like.
mhm.
Trends is not really about, sometimes it's about color, certain garments. Sometimes it's about certain silhouette. For instance, we don't wear sundresses anymore, but they're gonna come back in style in a few more years.
Yeah. Everything do
We
come
stopped
back.
wearing,
That's one thing I do
yeah,
notice. Yeah,
yeah. So certain silhouettes come back. Certain silhouettes never, like the little black dress is never going anywhere.
yeah.
So
It's like
it's a classic. Coco Chanel did her thing when she invented that. So it's just certain things that is never going anywhere
mm-hmm.
that I have to stick to, and then there's certain things I pay attention to a year before, and I won't say anything, but I do pay attention to trends a lot, and I try to incorporate it a little bit in what I do, but not a whole lot because you just never know.
Yeah. So with all of that change, do you feel like you can kind of like make sure your personal style, your unique style still is, I don't know, like separated from the rest in a sense?
I try to stick to like sometimes trending colors. So like I know people love yellow and I know people love orange, and there's certain shades that they like in the winter versus the summer. So I do those type of trends. I definitely stick to certain colors. But then I do my own kind of silhouettes. So I know that, all white parties are great for the summertime. So January, February, I'm releasing white, like little things like that, that I do just to make sure I study buying periods, if that makes, to know what colors people are going to buy. People normally buy these colors certain time of year. People normally get ready for homecoming in August, so there's a collection I definitely want to release for homecoming, things like that.
That's so smart. Oh my goodness. And I didn't even think about like how many months in advance you have to have things ready to go out because that's when people are shopping for this. Like if
Right.
I'm going to this and this and I want to make sure I'm standing up and I'm not looking a month or a couple of weeks before, I already kind of have my look nailed
Oh
down.
yeah.
I've been already, yeah, that is
Yeah.
so important. Okay. Wow. So we about to take a little bit of a, I'm gonna say a sharp turn in this conversation because
Okay.
you mentioned something earlier, and I'm like, wait a minute. With your life, with all of the hats you wear, all of the things you do, like you literally are like doing all of the things. You've mentioned that you were married before, but also I know that you had a breakup, you have been divorced, and you are co-parenting. Can you just walk us through how you navigate, like just an emotional breakup, and then when co-parenting is involved and all of that.
Um, I've been separated from my ex-husband for 10 years now. We were officially divorced in 2017. That is such a difficult period in my life because it was my lowest point in life. I didn't have peace during that period, and I was literally just starting out my business. I didn't have the support that I needed in my marriage, and my ex-husband would say this himself, that he definitely regrets referring to my business as a hobby and not supporting me in that way. So trying to co-parent with um that type of hurt, betrayal that happened in our marriage, it was very, very, very difficult. Um the first couple of years were very, very difficult, but um I had to realize that I had to realize the type of woman I wanted to be. And I didn't want to be bitter. I didn't want to hate men. I didn't want to necessarily hate him. Um, I had to do a lot of work on ensuring that I did not become a bitter person. And our co-parenting relationship today is great.
Absolutely.
Um, we get along. We have our moments because I'm an alpha woman. If I want something, I want something. But we do get along. We do, have discussions about what we would like for our 3 kids. Um, and it has gotten better. It is not an easy thing to do coming out of a divorce, especially depending on how the marriage ends. But I think as individuals, it is your job to ensure that you get over that trauma and you heal from it, because you can't do anything walking around bitter or walking around unhealed, angry.
Yeah.
You're wasting energy that you can be putting somewhere else. So that was crucial for me and crucial to me to do. And I had to do the work, and it took a long time, but I got to that point so we could co-parent, so I could call him and we can even laugh and joke on the phone together, which we've come a long way. So co-parenting is a lot better these days than 8-9 years ago, for sure.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you for that. Because I did think like betrayals and things that like cause marriages and relationships to break down can sit with you, and it could be just such a journey to overcome that kind of hurt and kind
Hmm.
of, and it's suffering. Like, and then when you in pain, you know how it is. You're like, pain, misery, love's company. Like, you ain't gonna be happy if I ain't happy. But you're
Right.
like, this is not who I want to be. This is not who I want my kids to see. You like made a conscious decision. Was like for you was like the hardest part, just the idea of not having that support. Not it sounded like he didn't believe in you, and yeah, what was the hardest part for you in navigating and just kind of being at this point where you're like, you know what, I gotta choose something different.
Um, there was one particular day I knew, like, this is um he had destroyed my sewing room completely. Um, I mean, completely. And I knew then that, this is not it. And the crazy part is he doesn't even remember doing it. I had to remind him literally maybe a few weeks ago. He's like, I did what? I was like, yeah, you um that was very hard. That was very difficult. Especially referring to it as a hobby, not understanding the amount of work that I had to put in to even learn how to sew. Because at this stage, I didn't know how to sew. So I'm trying to learn how to sew. I'm trying to learn how to make patterns. Um, and I think online people love to say, you have to choose your partner wisely. You have to choose your partner wisely. That's fine. I changed. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't enter that relationship wanting to be an entrepreneur. I didn't enter that relationship wanting to be a fashion designer. That wasn't what he wanted. I changed because I realized after I had kids that I don't want to wait 30 years to open a boutique, you know? So I changed in that sense because then I realized he said one day, I just want to work my 9 to 5, come home to a home cooked meal and, you know, my wife, and that be it. I didn't want that anymore.
Wow.
There was nothing wrong with it. I don't mind. I love cooking, but I don't want to cook every day. I don't
Yeah.
want to cook every day. I don't want to be content with just the 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we were young. We were early 20s and, you know, mid 20s when we were together. And you don't think about your partner life goals changing in that way. And that's not even a question that we even asked initially when we were together because we were young and didn't know.
A lot of people can't
So
answer that all the way anyway.
yeah,
Okay.
I mean, you don't know. So there's a lot I could say about him. But then there's a lot I could say about me. I'm not the same woman that I was when he met me. I had changed in that sense. Um, so you know, I feel like even through all the hurt and all of the betrayal and everything I could possibly say, at the end of the day, we weren't meant to be. Even if it wasn't what happened in our relationship, we weren't meant to be in the sense that I had changed. Maybe that was my way out, was the hurt. Maybe it was supposed to be another way. At the end of the day, it was supposed to end. Um, so when I going through my healing process, I'm realizing this. And that helped me understand like we weren't meant to be. He was meant to be the father of my kids. We were
Mm-hmm.
meant to be friends eventually, but marriage, no, we were not. And I'm okay with that. And I'm happy for that because what I want to do, I have to have the partner, I have to have the support that understands this. And it's not fair to him if that's all that he wants. I can't do that. I can't
Yeah.
do that. So it took a lot. It took a lot to be mature enough to say it's not just him. That's the easy route. It wasn't just him. No, we both, well, let's just end this and then call it a
That's
day,
huge.
basically. Yeah.
That's so huge. You said a couple of things. First of all, we got a whole there's a whole nother episode too that's gonna have a whole panel on there that's gonna talk about that like how people change in marriages and you
Mm-hmm.
know, like you have to keep falling in love with the versions of your spouse that are evolving because you know as you grow you're moving into different chapters of your life. So it was I didn't know that was gonna come up today, but we there's an episode with somebody just on it. We haven't done it yet, but it's already in the works, so that's interesting. I I'm proud of you for choosing you. Think you know what you deserve. You're so relentless. She said, "You're gonna destroy this room, and then I'm gonna rebuild it and still be successful." He was
Mm-hmm.
like, "I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna still figure it out, and I'm still gonna reach these goals, and he's still not gonna stop me, even though you know what I mean. I done chose to build this life with this man. This ain't working. So I love that about like your
And he's
commitment.
supportive now. He's
Really,
supportive
that's
now.
awesome.
And
You did
he's
say you said,
apologized. He said, you know what? And this is a testament to people always saying that God gives you a vision and you only and you the one who see it
yes,
because he couldn't see it. There's a lot of people that couldn't see it in the beginning. And when he sees it now, cause he saw day one me start until now, he's like, I can't believe you actually sown all of these things. He's like,
yeah,
this looks like it came out of the department store and you made it. He was just like, you know, I'm proud of you. He was like, you know, it was a hobby. He said, it was a hobby to me, but you really have turned it into a business. He couldn't see that vision. He
yeah,
couldn't understand how someone who couldn't sew could go to this stage, but it wasn't supposed to be for him to see.
Yeah.
It was just for me. And, it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm so glad you guys are in a better place. I'm sure
Oh,
that
yeah.
is so relieving. Um,
Yes.
and then as a person who's seen your journey, like I feel like I've seen breakthroughs, but had no idea the story behind them. So oh my God. Like I just knew nothing about your relationship, your marriage, the breakup. Like I didn't know anything about this. You sound like
Yeah.
a person, you mean that. But I do remember
Oh,
seeing stuff
girl.
and I'm like, oh, she's going through something, but this is like her breaking through something, right? Like certain announcements or certain shoots or like different things like that. And it was like, of course, love poured into you when these things will happen. People was always very supportive, me included, right? Like but I had no idea what the story was behind it all. As a mental health person, I was like, something going on there, and she's breaking through something. I could see that, but just kind of like didn't know the what. So wow, that's powerful. That's super powerful. And it's remarkable to see where you are today, considering, right, some of the obstacles, some of the personal life struggles that you were overcoming.
Yeah.
And now you guys are talking or you know, like,
Yeah.
so navigating, sharing, if you could, sharing me just I don't know, effective communication tips, conflict resolutions, things that help people who are co-parents and people who are navigating the aftermath of a relationship. What might that be?
Um, you can't always think that you're right. Um, and you have to listen. I think that's the biggest thing is that you have to listen. Um, I like listening to people talk because for a lot of reasons. One, people usually telling themselves when you listen to them, but mainly because you get an idea of how someone clicks and what
Mhm.
makes them click. Um, so just listening to him, listening to um what bothered him, that was deep for me because I really didn't want to hear it, but I'm like, I got to hear this. I have to hear, you know, his emotions, even though I'm in a place of hurt and he's hurt me. That was big for me because I didn't realize I'd hurt him. And then in my head, I'm like, but how? But the reality was he was. And I think once we both started listening to each other and when we both, because we're very, very headstrong alpha people, like he
What?
wants to talk, I want to talk, but it has to be, I have to humble myself and understand the importance of humbling myself and just being quiet and listening to him and vice versa. Because if we don't get past this hurt that both of us have caused, whether he caused more or not, um, we're not going anywhere. We're not moving forward, and that was big for me because I wanted to move forward. I didn't want to. I'm already stressed or going through stuff with my business. I can't be stressed in my personal life too. That was huge for me because that's how I felt when I lived in Tallahassee. I was stressed
We
everywhere.
got all about that.
I was stressed and I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. I can't get anything accomplished with my business being stressed. So making sure now we have effective communication, but knowing how to talk to him, what tone to talk to him in, what time of day to talk to him,
Oh,
and
yeah.
vice versa. All of that stuff matters. And as much as you want to be, um, I don't care anything, but it matters. Like it matters deeply. I can call him in the morning and talk to him before he go to work. Don't call me though in the morning and talk to
Mhm.
me because I'm not in the right headspace to receive the message. All of that stuff matters. And it's not about catering to somebody. It all goes into effective communication to me. Just I know now I cannot even feel like that I'm yelling at him because he won't receive the message. So there's a certain tone. I have to talk. I have to talk slow sometimes because I don't want him to believe that I'm anywhere near angry, and vice versa. So, all of that just plays a major role into us communicating. But I think everybody has to do what works for them. That's a conversation that you have to sit down and kind of ask, what triggers you, or what upsets you, or,
Mhm.
I even ask, am I talking to you in a way that's condescending? All of that stuff matters deeply.
Whoa. It's like a oh my, it's like I just hear the growth, the wisdom, the maturity in that. And even like, and I can hear you kind of in that, like speaking to both sides, the person who's like, well, no, I'm not gonna adjust, how I am to, but also the person that's just like, you know what, the energy that circles around when, like, if I go into a conversation frustrated and I know that I can bring that energy, part of the reason why I choose not to bring a certain kind of energy to the conversation is because that's coming back, it's creating something that impacts me. So why would I create that for them, knowing that I'm going to be affected by it as
Right.
well? And if I'm seeking peace, if I'm seeking balance, I can't create, imbalance. I can't create destruction.
Right.
And my overall goal, right, like when I go into a conversation is whatever that solution is. It's not, I want to get off track because of the argument or because I want to be right or because I want to let you know that I can call you at whatever time. Like I didn't even, one of the things that's most profound about what you said is the reflective piece and the accountability piece in there. So even when you talked about just navigating the breakup and you were saying, I changed, you know what I mean? Like I think there's a part, and I do this with all my clients. I'm like, there's a part of when something hurt you where you just like, I need you to blame them. I need you to all the way sit in that and say how they wronged you and all of the things that, go wrong. Because some people can't do that. Some people like, well, they feel guilty to say somebody wronged them. So I'm like, you need to sit in that because otherwise it's a repetitive cycle people can keep hurting.
Right.
But then I need you to come out of that and start looking at yourself because there's a role you play in everything that happens with you, even if you didn't mean to, even if that wasn't your goal. In order to make progress, in order to move forward, you gotta be able to say, what did I do? Like, how did I show up in that space that
Yep.
led to whatever happened? So that was huge. That's huge in any, breakdown, any conflict. I mean, anything that I guess kind of can come upside down in life to where like, how did we get here, right? Like how did I show up in that? That
Right.
was thank you for sharing that. I feel like whoever listens to that, like that's an important message. I don't know where people are gonna be at in their journey when they hear this, but I think you said
Right.
some incredible things. And so in this spirit, I know we kind of been talking for a while, but in this spirit of just career and motherhood and overcoming pain and hurt and having just breakthroughs and shifts and seeing a bigger picture, right? We gotta prioritize you in there. So how do we make sure how are we incorporating in some self-care? How are we managing just just making sure we're good in just the demands of life and all of the hats you're wearing.
Ooh, so I have a thing. Every first and 15th of the month is me days. Um, I take off work if need be. I just take a day to I'm good on a mental health day. I will take off work for a mental health day because I just need time to myself. I learned the older I got that I do like being alone a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, and I just take a me day, whether it's going to brunch by myself or going to dinner, going to get my nails done, just going and just sitting somewhere quietly, just something. I'm good about taking a mental health day and don't work. That's the biggest thing. Don't check
Alright.
email, don't any sewing, drawing, sketching, whatever, nothing. The only thing that I'm going to do is eat, drink some wine,
Mhm.
maybe watch some TV or something, but
What's your
you
favorite
need
wine?
that
I'm
day.
sorry. What's your favorite wine?
You need that day for you. And I think that is so important because especially me, I'm a workaholic. So I need that day to just be myself and not have to wear all the hats and just respond to all kind of email. I get all kind of emails every day. I just need a day to myself and not to be dealing with kids.
Ain't
I need
that
a
true?
break. You know, you need a break. You need a break to yourself. Everybody needs a break to
Yeah,
themselves. Yeah.
definitely. I love that. And you have like a system. You said the first and the 15th. You like there
Mhm.
is a schedule. I look forward to it. It's a countdown. I know
Mhm.
it's coming. Like
Mhm.
you said you have a sewing room. You almost like the sewing room is closed on those days. There is no like interrupting my me time
Yeah.
for that. I was
And
gonna
I
ask
solo travel. I solo travel a lot.
you.
Um,
What's one of your favorite?
I like to domestic solo trade, doesn't matter. I like to
Yeah,
domestic solo travel all the time. Sometimes it is for like a business trip, but I go alone. So one day I'm doing the business stuff and then the next 3-4 days I'm chilling. But yeah, that is my thing. I love a solo trip. I've gone to DC by myself. I went to New Orleans. I met my friend there, but I was by myself really the entire trip. I kind of gone to Memphis countless times. I done lost track of that. I go everywhere by
wow.
myself. Like that became my thing. To just go and I'll get an Airbnb
Mm-hmm.
and I'll just be at the Airbnb. I'll order food. Like I won't even go out, but it just get away from the city. I might experience some things, but I love it. I
Yeah.
absolutely love that.
I'm getting into doing that more now that I don't have to do it because I used to travel every month all across the state and just like because I have
Mm,
a job, different parts of the country alone all the time. No, it's just every month I'm gonna be somewhere. So I think like once I stopped doing that work and then the pandemic happened and then I went into entrepreneurship and all of that stuff, then I just kind of lost it and like travel has always been important to me. So I'm traveling with my family and all of that. But now I've been getting into doing these trips that are for no work related purposes, or if they are, they're almost like, visioning type trips. Like I just need to
right.
go in my mind and just kind of plan out and yeah, it's like you forget. I'm like, I remember going into the room, I don't even know what to do. Because I was so used to having so many things to do at night. I'm like, oh, I gotta do this. Gotta go make sure she did this. I gotta go, like
Hmm.
move all around the house, do the dishes, make sure everything is done, the doors are locked. No, there's nothing to do. All you gotta do is go take a bath. All you gotta do is go sit on that balcony and drink that wine.
Hmm.
There's nothing to do. That is such an amazing feeling as a
It
woman,
is.
as a person who's doing things and can see the difference. Like I'm taking all them
It's
hats
so
on.
good for your mental health.
So good.
For
So
at least
good.
for me, it is. And I know some people they kind of have to do stuff and kind of have to be around people. For me, it's just so good for my mental health, just to be
Yeah.
able to relax. I come back with the best ideas.
Yep.
So yeah, I love it. I love
That's
it.
the thing. You show up better when you give yourself that time,
Yes,
that care. Because you think, oh, my presence is what is supposed to like carry me. And it's like, but what version of your presence? What
exactly.
percentage of you are you bringing to the table? Like, if you're always drained or if you like, overflow, like not even in a good way. So when I say overflowing, usually I mean like in a good way, but you're
Right.
overflowing in a way you're burning out, right? Like you need to, probably need to take a break from everything, step away from everything, refresh, recharge, all of that.
Yes.
And then when you come back, I promise you it's going to be different. So that absence sometimes is necessary for the better version of you to show up. What is your favorite wine? That's what I've been trying to ask you. What's your favorite
Oh, I like them all really. I
wine?
like Roscato. I almost drew a blank. Roscato is my absolute
Mm,
favorite. I love red wine. I
yeah,
like white Zinfandel too, but Roscato, man,
you like
Roscato.
I
Like
like that.
we go together real bad. Real bad.
It's me and you.
Real bad.
Soon I see you in soon as I go to a store and see you, I'm just gonna grab you up right quick.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. I love it.
Well, I just wanted to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today, and I do want to give you an opportunity to just kind of share where people can find you, what are your contacts, your your candles, all of that good stuff.
Okay. Shawn Denise here, and thank you again for the opportunity. You can find me on Instagram at Shawn SHAWN underscore Denise. Also on Facebook, Shawn Denise, Pinterest, Shawn Denise. My brand is called Paint by Shawn Denise. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and my website is www.paintbyshawndenise.com. I also have my own personal website that you can reach out to me. I do consultations, business consultations, fashion designer, business tools, you name it. It's all on my website, and that's www.shawndenise.com.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I hope everybody has been able to take some of your genius and witness the incredible just powerhouse that you are. And I'm
Oh,
sure
thank
you'll
you.
get some context because listen, you just got a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge. I think people deserve to just know, hey, this, even though you might not have all the answers, there are people out here. One of the things you spoke to was, I didn't have a mentor, so the mistakes I made, how do I feel like there's little nuggets you can do to give back in different ways, and these are those ways to plant those seeds and inspiring, up and coming, all that kind of stuff. But thank you so
you.
much again for everybody who's tuning in. Again, this is season 2 of the Bianca Williams Podcast. If you have not checked out the other episodes, check them out. Also, we have season 1. We are on YouTube now, but we are also on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. And so just check me out wherever you can. And of course, subscribe, like, and share any feedback that you may have.